Okay, so the agenda for today is that we are going to first discuss about enums. Okay, what are enums in Java? Then going to talk about this keyword, and then we will talk about debugging. Right, that was one other thing which was left over. And if time remains, right, I will just give an overview on collections framework. Okay, just an overview. Nothing inside this, just an overview. What we have to learn about collections, I will just try to explain you that. Okay, but the key areas are these only. So let's start. We'll start with enum first. Actually, I was doing some hands-on today so that I can have some concrete examples. But let me create everything from scratch. Let me create package one. Then let me place everything inside this. Okay. So let's start. So today is, I believe, I'm already on the right git branch minus. Okay, I don't have to do this. I have to do git status. So I am on day 20, so I've already created a branch. So let's start. So we're talking about enums. What are enums in Java? Who all knows about enum? Does anyone have used enum before? Atul, you may have used it, right? I think you were saying something about enums that day. Atul, if you're saying something, you're on mute. Okay, he is not there. No worries. Anyone else wants to add something to the enums if they understand about it or no? Okay. Okay, no worries. I hope I'm audible, right? It's not that I'm speaking to myself. Okay, great. Okay, so great. So let's talk about enums first. What are enums? See, what are enums is that they help you to have. So enums is like a collection of values, you can say, right? And it's like a list of values where I mean, let's say that we are what should I say? We have seen a drop down, right? We all have seen drop down. So if you would see, right, if you see on a application that there's a drop down, and if you would click on it, you would see a list of value, right? You would see a list of values. Here what happens is that anytime you open this drop down, it will only show you these exact values only, right? So it's like a list here, right? It's like a list here, and which will never change. So these are like constant values which you have. What you can do is you can just select the one and it will get selected, right? So similarly, enum is what? Enum is like a list, right? Which has some values inside it, okay? Which has some values inside it, which behaves as constant, okay? Which behaves as constant. Now, what do I mean by it? Let's say that I am creating an enum. Enum stands for numeration list. Okay, first of all, numeration list. Something which you can numerate it on. I mean, you can move from one point to another, right? So a list kind of a thing. Let's say this is a list, right? So you can numerate, like you can move from here to here to here to here to here, right? Like this. So it's a list. So enum stands for this. What is enum in Java? Enum in Java, you can consider it is very same as classes. Okay, these are very same as classes, but these are not classes. Okay, these are not exact classes. But you can understand like it behaves as classes only. Why I'm saying this? What a class has in Java? Class can have instance variable. Class can have methods. Class can have constructors, right? And all these three things are also possible in enums also. Okay, right? But what is an enum first of all? Let's get back to the discussion. What is enum? Enum is like a numeration list where you can numerate, like where you can move from one point to another. What do I mean by it? Let's say I will create. Let's say I want to work on a I want to print some colors, right? Let's say okay. Let's say that I am writing a program where I want a user to I am asking a user to select a color of a flower, and based on it, I will recommend him the name of the flower. Okay, let's say the person said red, right? So I would show him, let's say, rose there, right? So similarly, let's say someone asks yellows, and I will say, okay, it's a sunflower, right? Similarly to that part, right? But what I have written in my logic is I have only covered three values, which are red, yellow, and let's say orange, right? Let's say I covered only three. If someone else tries to provide a fourth value to it, it will not work. Why? Because that is not there in my predefined list. Okay. So enums are a way where you can restrict like what kind of values you can hold. Okay. So that is what enum is about. And if you would consider about drop downs also, right? If you would see a drop down, these are not like a free text where anyone can come in and fill the values. No, these are predefined values which someone can select and work upon it, right? So these are again the numeration list only, right? But I'm just giving you an analogy, right? Nothing, there is no comparison to this in this, right? I'm just trying to create some analogy here. What enums are? How do you write enums? You will write enum like this. You will say enum. You will give the name of the enum. Let's say color, right? So I will say color, right? So again, the nomenclature used is same. C is capital, and again you can have it as public, private, protected, right? Whatever you want, you can do it, right? Color, and you will open the braces like as you do for the classes, right? How do you write classes? You say this only, right? Class, and let's say I'm writing a class for the animal, right? So what I do this only, right? And here I can add my instance variables, right? I can add my methods and I can add my constructors. Similarly, here also I can do the same thing, right? All the three things, which is fine. But I am not concerned about it because no one, because you will never be thinking about using all this because you will have classes for it, right? So I will not go in that discussion, but you have to understand that these all three things are also possible in enums. The use case which is for enum, right? In our cases, I'm just directly coming to that point. What is enum is, let's say I want to control like the values of colors which someone can select, right? And I want to restrict them to only three values. There are hundreds or thousands of values which someone can enter, right, if they want to. But I don't want that. What I want to is I want to restrict them to some specific value. So what I will do is I will say enum color, open the braces, and I will start writing the values. I want to give red, I want to give yellow, right? Let's say these are the only two values, right? So I will close the braces here, and now my enum got created. Now what is happening here is it's like that you created a list of color where only two values are possible, which is red and yellow, right? So the purpose should be so we should understand the purpose, like what are enums. Enums are a way where you can create a predefined list where no one can change it. So these are like constant values. Okay, these are like constant values. These are constants. These are constants, right? Enum, color, and all that, right? Now, although there is more technical thing to it, but let me first start creating enum, right, for you. So what I'll do is I'll first create a package, package two, okay, and let me create a class here. I will create a class as let's say enum demo. Okay, I hope I have not created a class like this, but okay, let it be enum demo, right? So enum demo class. Now, okay, the first point, you can create enum in two places. You can add a enum inside a class, right? Or you could skip that part, or you could just have enum in a separate file, or maybe outside the class also, right? So I can write enum inside this class like this. I can say enum, and I will say color, okay, and I can add a red, yellow, right? The nomenclature which you should follow is you should write everything in caps. Constant values in Java should be written in all caps. Okay, that's a nomenclature. So you should follow that also, right? So I have created an enum now, right? An enum which is with the name of color and what values it holds. Two values. One is red and one is yellow. You can see I've currently added this inside a class, but I can also do it outside the class like this. Okay. Again, it's not an issue. There is no problem around it. Okay. Now But what I will say is, let's say, in most of the cases, you will find people doing this way only, right? They will create it outside the class and place it there. Okay, so let's use this way only. So I've created a enum which has this value, and there's a class like this. Now, what else? What should I show you? Okay, now let me write it here in the second box. Hey, hi, Kusuma. Discussing.
Hi, Akhil.
Hi, we are discussing enums today. Okay, and I just told them like what is the syntax of enums, right? So this is how you write it: enum, and then the name of the enum there, and you provide the values here, which are like constant things. Okay, like the red and yellow. Okay,
Okay.
uh, so
And sorry, I joined late because I just got home from office.
no worries, no worries. I mean, you can also rewatch the recording if you think you missed something, but you can consider like we just started.
Okay.
Okay, so
Thank you.
it's a enum here, color, and it has two values. Now, what is the purpose of enum is that we want to have a predefined list where we can use those values. Let's say color A, right? Red and yellow. So what I'm saying is, like, how do you create? Okay, so first of all, I told you like these are very similar to classes where you can also have your methods and all that, right? Okay, so how do you create? Just a second. I need to just check one thing which I have in my notes about. No, just a second. Where is that? Yes. Okay. Let me just check one thing, which I'm not sure. Can we create the instance of enums? Let's try it actually. If I can do something like this, color, let me get a main method. Oh, sorry, main method, and I will say color C1 equals to new color. Can I do it? Enums type cannot be instantiated, right? So
I
enums
think
cannot be instantiated.
you can directly call the values from using that enum name, I guess.
Right.
Color dot write like that.
Right, right. We will cover that. I was just trying to just make sure that we cannot create the instance of the enums, right? So that is the point I was trying to make. Okay. So let me just write it here in the board. Uh, there is my pen. Okay, here. Right. So enums. So again, we saw we cannot instantiate, right? We cannot instantiate enums. Okay, we cannot do it. We cannot instantiate enums. So how to use enums? Now, I told you these are like constant values, right? These behave as constants. How do you make constant values in Java? If you mark this in front of the, let's say, public, static, final. If you write this right in front of any variable, let's say I want to create a variable of int type to be a constant, so that no one in the entire execution can change that value, like a pi, right? A pi value. It's like we talked about in our discussion earlier, that if you want to do it, what you can do is you can say public static final int a equals to 5. So now in any place of your code, right, if you try to change this value of a, system will not allow. System will not allow because you have marked final here. We have discussed about final. So in that discussion, we talked about how this helps us to make a constant. What is a constant whose value cannot change? So similarly, you have to understand whatever you're writing here, right? These are like constant values. Okay, these are like constant values, and these will not change. But what is the data type of it? I understand like this is red and yellow, but what exactly it is? See, again, I thought, but okay, I think I will get to on this part later on. But keep in mind, right, that there is one discussion pending here. Like you see red and yellow, what are this? Are these strings? No, these are not strings. Then what is red and yellow here? There has to be data type, right? Everything in Java has a data type. What about these? What is the data type? You can see I just wrote public static final and just a value here. But what really it is, right? We don't know. We'll get back to this. Okay. But what you can, the second thing which we understood is we cannot even instantiate enum. So I cannot write something like this: color c1 equals to new color. I cannot do this. So this is not possible. Okay. This is not a class. This is enum. Okay. So you cannot do this. Now, how to use it? See, there are two static methods. There are two static methods which are available on enum, which you can use. One is color, the name, whatever you mentioned here, right? If you use a dot on it, right? Everything static inside this will you will start seeing it. So there are two important methods which you should be knowing. One is uh, I think it is value of, I believe. Yes, value of, and other method is values. Okay, these are two methods. Here this accepts a string value. That's a name here, right? Whatever that value is, and it returns you what? It returns you the return type of this method is the data type of your class itself. So your class is color type, right? So to return you a color only. Values returns you the uh, all the iteratable item, right? I think it will be making more sense once I show you the iteratable items. What I mean is, see here. So I created an enums here, right, everyone? I created an enums here. Now let's say that I want to check what all values I have in my enum. So what I'll do is I will type here color dot values, and if you would see, just see this, right? If you would see here, right, its values, it does not accept any input, right, which is okay. So I don't have to provide any inputs to it. But what is the return type of it? The return type of this method is what? An array of color. An array of color, right? So if you do, what is color here? Color is enum only, right? And what would be the array which, I mean, it's an array, so what values it will be holding? It will be holding what values? These values. Okay. Okay. So let me write here color dot values. So what it is returning? It is returning you an array of colors. So if I try to create an array of colors, let's say by naming its colors, right? And if I do this, right, I can do this way, because values is returning me what? An array of, you can see here, an array of color only. And it's a static method. You can see again, the static method, right? That's why you can just use the name of enum and dot and get that thing here, right? Now, its array is an iteratable item. Okay, it's an iteratable thing. So for if you have to iterate through an iteratable thing, right? What you can use? We have learned about the for each method, right? Which we can use to iterate through a iteratable item. So how will I do it? Colon colon here, right? In the second side, tell me, who can tell me, like, what should I place in the left hand side and what should I place in the right hand side? We have already discussed about this before loop. If anyone can tell me. I want to iterate through this colors, right? Which is an array. So tell me, what should I write here in the left and the right?
Color dot values on the right hand side.
Okay,
No, sorry, colors. That's
colors,
already assigned to colors, right?
right? And what should I
And on
type
the
on the
left,
left side?
color and some variable name.
Like this, right?
Yeah.
Right, absolutely right. Please remember from our discussion of iteratable things, right? For the when we discussed about this enhanced for loop, what happens here is this for loop can only work for the iteratable items, right? If you have something which can be iterated through, then you can use this for loop. And this is what we got. Array is an iteratable thing. This is an array, right? This is an array of color type. So we are iterating through it. And what will happen is, let's say we have, and how many values it holds? It holds two values, red and yellow, right? Red and yellow. So it is creating an array of color, right, which will hold red and yellow, right? And now once this loops work, right, in the first iteration the c will be equal to red, in the second iteration c will be equal to yellow. Okay, so let's do this. So I will say s out and I will say C dot name. Okay, C dot name. Let's run this. Let's run this. See, I'm not sure like who already has used enums, but you would realize that it is like that there are some new learnings around it. Okay, but the concept of Java remains same. There is nothing, there is no new concept apart from saying just enum keyword. Now see, you got red and yellow there. Okay, right? So this is how you can iterate through the values. Now let me first list down the very important methods which you should be knowing. Right now, let me again go there here, right? And I will again write enum color, and I wrote here red and yellow. I told you like we will discuss about it. What is the data type of it, right? Right. You have to understand these are like instance of these classes of this enum itself. Try to understand this. Like if I have written this red here, right? Try to understand internally. It is someone has written like this. It is something like this. Color red equals to new color. Okay, and where the value is red and the ordinal position. Okay, whenever you're creating a list, right? Whenever you're creating a list here using enums, what happens is every time two values are provided. Okay, when you make an entry, two values are provided. What are those two values? One is obviously the name which you're providing. Let's say red, right? You provided red, but it also receives a ordinal number. It receives a ordinal number which is your index position. So which index position this first entry is being made? It is made at the uh, zeroth position, right? Zero index position, right? So the entry of this will be made, right? When you do this next thing, which is color, which is when someone adds this yellow here, right? Internally, what is happening is something like this is happening. Color yellow, okay, okay, zero here first of all, right? And what is happening here is new color and yellow, okay, yellow and zero. You can understand like this is like a constructor call where it is accepting two inputs. One this value and other is the this thing, right? So yellow and this is one. Okay. So you can understand, but when we wrote our enum, we just wrote this part, right? But internally, what is the data type of red and yellow? The data type is color only. Okay, these are color, and I told you these are constant, so you can understand like something like this is written public static final, and similarly for this public static final data type of color, which is this only, and then the name of it, the variable name which you wanted to give. But when you give the variable name here, right, it is taken as the value also, the same thing. It is given as a string, and you also receive a ordinal number. Okay, so instead of writing this, what we write, we just write this. So anytime you see a enum, right, and you see this, just remember that these whatever you added here, right, as a value, these are like instance of this enum itself, right? These are like instance of these enums, and the variable name of those instances what red and yellow, and the value which they hold is what a string value of red and the index position based on how where they are placed. Here red is at the zero position, so it will receive zero, and here yellow is there, so it is one. Okay, this is all internal thing. You don't have to get into it, but you have to understand, right? What is red and yellow? Red and yellow are of type color only, but internally everything is managed in a way that they are invoking something like this, and they are providing two inputs where the variable name is matching to your string value, and this is your index position, right? So now if you have to iterate through this enum, this color, right? This See, the purpose of creating enum is that you wanted to have a predefined values, which we did. We have predefined values of color, which is red and yellow. Okay, so we'll try to use this. Let me first use it. Okay, let me first use it. What I'll do next is let me not iterate through it. Oh, sorry. We started one discussion, right? We started one discussion, so let me complete that discussion first. So here, right, this color. So color, because it's a enum, right? There are two methods which it always have, which are static methods. So if you use the name of the enum, which is color, and you put a dot on it, right? What all thing you can get? This is a name. This is not the instance. This is the direct name of the enum, right? And if you do a dot on it, what items you can access? The static items, right? So if you put a dot on it, you get to see two things: values and value of. Okay. So these are two important methods which you should be knowing. Values does not accept anything, but it returns what? It returns you what? It returns you an array of your enum. An array of your enum. The values which are there in your enum. So it will return something like this. And you can see, right? I showed you this here. Here, what is values? Values is returning you a color, right? Which is the enum name, but it's an array. But and then maybe now you can connect the dot and you can see it is saying that it will return an array of color. It is not saying it will return a string of array. It is not saying this. It is saying this, right? And you can see what did you edit? You only edit red and yellow, right? So you have to understand that if it is returning values, it is returning these things, and if it is returning this, and if it would have been string, so this should have been the output of it, right? But that is not the case. What is being written? It is returning color, right? Which is the enum type. So you have to understand that these are what? These are like your instance variable, instance objects created for this enum class. Okay. So values gives you an array of color, which you can iterate through by doing what? A for each loop, like this. Whatever name you will provide here, right there, and then color, see, whatever that thing is, right? And you can iterate through it. Now, so this values is working at this level, right? At this level, right? We got this. There is another thing, value of. Here it accepts a string value. Okay, a string value of, I believe, a string or an int value. Let me check. Or not here. On the above. Color dot, sorry, value of. You can see, right? And also you can see, right? It is also returning you what? It is also returning you. Let me provide a value here. So I will say here red. Okay. And you can see what is the written type of this method. Written type is just a single color. So what it will do? It will match, it will try to match a value in the color enum, right? Where the color, right? Where the color is having a string of red here, right? See, you have to understand that what is happening here is I have wrote this logic, right? I've written this enum here. You have to understand internally something like this is happening, where you are doing public static. Let me give it another name, color 2, public static, final, uh, color 2, and red. Okay, and you're doing something like this. Okay, new color, color 2, and you're providing the red here, and you're providing 0 here. Okay, something like this is happening inside this. Okay, and the second thing, when you do about yellow, right, what is happening is yellow, yellow, and 1. Okay, so when you wrote this, right, internally you have to understand that something of this nature is happening. Okay, we got this. And now try to compare this with this value, right? When I said color dot value, right, what it is returning? It is returning you these two things, this red and this yellow, not this red and yellow, right? Not this, right? It is nowhere returning you this. No, it is returning you these variables, red and yellow. Okay, which are what? Which are a type of your enum class, in enum only, right? So red is of what type? Enum only, right? Yellow is of what type? Enum only, right? Color to enum. So it returns you what? It returns you, it put red and yellow into an array of what type? Of color 2 type, right? That's why you can see values returns you what? This array of color, right? Which is this, would be this case, right? Red and yellow, right? Now the second thing which I was telling you is that if you use the other thing, color dot values of, right? Yeah, this one, the below one here, right? Here, when you what you can provide is see the method here. It accepts a string value. But here you're providing string. You're not providing this red and yellow here. No, what you're providing is you're providing this thing, red and yellow, right? But in our case, both variable name and this are same. So we are happy to provide this here, right? And this will return you what? It will return you a color, right? An enum type. So you're providing red here, so it will check which of your variable has red as a value inside this. So here this is the one, and what is the name of it? Red. This enum which is of red type. I mean, which has a variable name as red. Okay, so this will get returned, right? Now here it was returning an array, so you provide this. Here you are providing a color, right? So let me write color here. Let me give it any other name. Color red equals to this, right? Let me say this. Now, right? So what were the two static methods? Value and values of. And you have to understand this gives you iteratable list. Okay, iteratable array. Sorry, iteratable array. It provides you iteratable array, and here it provides you a single value from your enum. Okay, so this is what you got. Now there are two methods which you have to understand. So these were at the enum level, right? Values and value of. But if you got one of the variables, right, like these, like red or yellow, right? Like here, right? We got red here. What you can do is, if you would use red here, right, and you put a dot on it, you will find some new methods here, because here these are for this these variables, right, inside this. So what are the two important methods? One is name, okay, name method, and other is the ordinal, okay, ordinal. Now if you would compare what are this name and ordinal, it is saying, see, when I said color dot value of red, right, it tried to find this string value, and it found the matching one, which is red here. So it returned you this thing, right? It returned you this thing. Let me write it here. It returned you this, okay? It returned you this here as an output, and it got assigned to what? Red here. Now you're trying to do here red dot name, which is similar to, right, you're writing red dot name here. So what is the name here? This string value. So if you try to run this method here, right, what it will print? It will print red here, because this was the string value which was given. And if you say ordinal, what is the ordinal number of this red thing? 0. So it will print 0 here. Okay. With enums, you have to just understand about these four methods, right? And how do you create enums? You just create enums by doing simply like this. You said enum color, whatever name you want to give it to your list, and then you just start writing things with a capital thing. But internally, what is happening is something of this nature is happening. Okay, where all your whatever values you're providing here, right? These are of what type? Color type. And when they are created, they receive two inputs: one, a string value, and second, the ordinal number. String value is same as your name of your enum itself, okay? And the ordinal number is depends on the position where you have placed the value. So index position starts from 0, so the first value will receive 0, and the second will receive 1. Now, so this is the only thing which you have to remember. Now you have to understand at the color. Let's say I have created a list and I want to see what all values are there in my list. So what is the method you will use? You will say color dot values, and it will fetch you both the things, right? In our case, it is both things. So it will fetch red and yellow, and then you can play with it, right? Similarly, if you wanted to fetch a single value based on the based on the string value, right? You can provide it, and then you can extract it out, okay, using the this method values of, okay. And once you have received that value, you can check two things inside this: what is the name and what is the ordinal number, like what we are doing here, right? Now let me show you one example. I think it will make things more clear. Public class enum. Let me grab all this and let me just place it somewhere else. So, I will say public void m1. Okay, what I did wrong here? I did this wrong. All right, let me collapse this. Let me bring it down. And so I'm removing this part. Oh, let me just make it commented. Okay. So this is the commented part, and let me just place it somewhere down so that I can save some space. Okay. Now, now see here, right? I have created an enum of color, right, which has two values, red and yellow. And now what I'll do is I will, let's say, let's say this is uh, enum provided by some developers, right? It came as an input. I am not the one who has created those enums, right? Let's say I am not the one, but I know that there is a list of enums which will hold some colors. Okay, that is the only information I have. What I will do is I will first of all I will create a string value. I will say string color name, and let's say I am currently provided red here, red, red. Okay, and now what I'll do is I wanted to check whether a color name of red exists in my enum list or not. How to do it? What you can do is you can say if, and here you have this color thing, right? What I will do is I will say color dot values of value of, and here it can accept the string value. So which is what string is what I will provide this thing here, color name, right? I will provide this color name values of, if color dot values of equals to color dot red, oh sorry, color dot red, then print yes, color exists. Okay, yes, color exists. Okay, but if it does not exist, what it will print is, it will print no, no, it didn't, it doesn't exist, it doesn't exist. Okay, so now first of all I know this will throw an exception. Let me first add the thing here. Runtime exception, and I want to, I will print here as out uh, color didn't matched, color didn't matched, color didn't match, and I will also print my stack trace, uh, print stack trace. Okay, now let's run this code. Let me just again say it, right? I have a list of enum which is holding my color red and yellow, and I want to iterate. I just want to check whether, again, I'm not the one who has created that list. I just received that list. I just wanted to make a check whether that list has a color with the name is red. Okay, that is what I'm trying to check. Here you can see this is all caps. So the value this color type would be storing would be of all caps only, red in all caps. But I am trying to search with a color name with the all as small, right? So this is bound to fail. Okay, this is bound to fail. But let's do it. Let's try to do it. What this will print? Okay, it printed this color did not match, right? And it throw an exception. Okay, where it says illegal argument exception, no enum constant of this. You can see, right here, you can see it is printing us saying that there is no color of this name in the color enum, in this enum here, right? There is no red. What is there? red all caps. What should I do here is I can simply say to uppercase, and now if you would do it, it will not throw an exception. Yes, color exists. Since it is printing this, so it means that there was no exception thrown and it did not go inside this, right? And it worked here only. Okay. Okay. So what is happening here? You are trying to what you did here? Value of color name dot to uppercase. So in a way, what value? Okay. Let me also show you debugging, right? Let us add some debugging here. I will cover this debugging part also, but let me just show you a very quick glance of it. Okay. Now see this. This is a breakpoint. And how do you start debugging? I mean, you have to put wherever you want to stop your program at, right? See, you can see my program has not stopped, right? It has not stopped. It is still running. It is in midway, but it got halted. It got halted, and it got halted on the point where I marked this as red. And how did I mark this red? I just clicked on it like this, right? So what do we call this as? This is called as breakpoint. Okay. So this is a breakpoint. Now I stopped my program here, right? Because of this breakpoint, and I'm running in the debug mode by pressing this thing, debug. Okay. I did not ran this play button. I ran the debug button. Now it has started debugging. Now we are here, right? Try to see the console here, right? It is a debugger. Okay. It's a you can see ideally it shows in the run mode. It shows here, right? Whatever information you have to see. If it is running in a run mode, it shows this tab and it shows all the output here, right? You can see here. For the previous one, it was showing this. But now, since I'm running in the debug mode, it shows everything in the debug mode here, right? In this debug tab. Now, what is important here, right? You have to understand here, because of what is the purpose of debugging? That you wanted to check some values and you wanted to check your execution flow. How is your code running? What is being executed first? Then what is executed next, and what is getting executed next after this, right? Here you can see all of this by using the power of debugging. But my intention of showing you debugging as of now is not that execution flow, but just the values. Now see this. We have this color name dot to uppercase, right? Let me first show you what is color name. Although you can already see, it shows you all the variables which are staying already in the stack. Okay. So you can see color name equals to red is already been shown. So color name was what? Red only, right? If I convert my color name dot to uppercase, right? If I try to run this, right? Let me just run it. So again, this is a box here where you can run any of your command, right? If you run this, right, you can see result is red, all caps. Okay, it returned all caps. So what is happening here is color dot value of is giving you what? Is giving you inside this you have red only, red. Okay, you received red, which is a string value here. Okay, you can see this is under double quotes. Okay, now and value of was accepting what string value only. Now what it did was, what this will internally do, it will try to find a color where the string value is red all caps, and it will find one because we have created it, right? You can see. So it will find this one, it will find this instance of color. So it will, if I run this complete thing, right, let's see what do you get. You see, this time you got result equals to color at the rate 720, right? And here you can see what are you getting? You're getting name is red and ordinal position is 0. I told you that, right? This is the first entry. For this color, this is a color, right? It's a color. It's an enum color, right? It is not a string. The way you are seeing it, right? It's not a string. It is a color data type. And this is what it is representing. That's why you can see this weird thing here, right? But for that color, what is the name, which is a string? Red, all caps, and the ordinal number is 0, right? So it is showing you the internal information, but what did you got in the end? You got something of color type, which you got here. So it is like what? It is same as you're writing color dot red, right? If I show you this now, see this. I wrote this color dot red, right? You can see the output is still same. And if I'm doing the other part, okay, I cannot go back. Okay, no worries. But you can see, right? This is the part. So this thing, this entire thing, right, converted to this value, color dot red on the left hand side. And to which value I'm comparing to? On the right hand side, this is color dot right? This time this will match. This will match, right? And that's why this is passing, right? It will go inside this and it will print it printed yes, color access. Let me run this. Let me go inside this. Choose a method to step into with arrows keys. Okay. Again, we have two methods here. Let me not step into it. Let me just get out of it. This. Right. You can see I went inside this. You can see the control. The blue line shows you the control where it is. It is here on this line. And if I keep running this, it it completed the flow and it is trying to move out. Right. Now it is on this line and this will it printed this. Yes, color access. I will talk about debugging again, but I just wanted to show you that what is happening here is if you wanted to compare a value of enum, how do you do it? You will not have that. You will not having the instance name of the color, right? You will not be having that. What you will be having is you will be having a string value, right? You will be having a string value. Using that string value, you want to identify whether I have an instance of that color or not. So how do you do it? You use this value of method. You provide the string value, and if that string values exist in that enum, it will return you that color type. And if it does, and it's a matching thing, it will return true or false, right? Accordingly. Let me do one thing. Let me provide yellow. Yellow here, right? Let me provide yellow here. What should be the output here? Anyone? Should it print color did not match? No, it does not exist. Something. What it should do this time? You can see I have red and yellow both.
Does not exist.
Does not exist, right? It will print this thing. Let's see actually. No, it does not exist, right? See, enum is a very special case in Java. That's why I did not pick up till now, because to understand this, you required some more knowledge, right? And I also don't want you to get into a lot of depth of it, right? Because that is not really required. What is required is that you have to understand that how you create enums. You create enums like this. How do you get all the values of enums? You do it by doing just simply like this. You will use the color and dot values, and it will return you what? It will return you a list, a array of red and yellow. This is what your output would be of this method, right? If you would do something like this, color dot values of, right? And here you provided what is the method name? Dot value of, right? And here if you provided red, let's say this thing, right? And I will move to this to uppercase. Okay. And what will be the output here? The output here would be what? Red, the single instance of it, right? So again, this is not array. This is a single thing, red here, right? Which is this red? This red here, right? Which are this red and yellow? These two things. So here, based on the string, you're trying to identify, do you have a color of this type or not, right? So you will use what method? This method. If you just want to extract all the variables, all the inputs you have, you will use color dot values. Okay, everyone. So these are the two things. And now once you got it, once you got any of this color thing, right? What you have to do is, let's say you want to see the ordinal position of it. How will you do it? You will say, let's say I will use this thing, right? Let's say I use this thing and I will say it will return you what? You can see it returns you color only, right? So I will say color. Let me give it any name, color red equals to this value, right? I got this. Now I will say red dot ordinal number. I wanted to print what? I wanted to print the index position of it, right? So if it will return me the index position, what will be the index position here? 0, right? And what is the value of string which is holding there? By you will get it by name thing, right? You can see it returns you a string. It is not color here. It is a string. So what it is returning you? The same exact value as your variable name, which is red. but this time it's a string. Okay, it's a string. Okay, so these are the four things which you should understand in case of enums. Now, where you will find, where can you use enums? I told you you can create enum inside the classes or outside the classes. Both are fine. Okay, but where you cannot create enums, you cannot create enums inside a method. Please remember that you cannot create enum inside a method. I cannot do something like this. Let me grab this. Let me try to put it maybe here. Let me get another method. I will create another method here. Public void m2. Okay, and I will try to create here. You will see it will not allow me to create enums. Local enums are not supported at language 7. These are not allowed. Okay, so these are not allowed. Let me remove this. So where can you create enums? Either inside the class but outside the method, right? Which is here. This is all good. Or you can just keep them outside the class also, which is also fine. Okay. Now, what is the purpose of enums? Enums helps you to have a predefined list of constants, right? And enum, by using enum, you can categorize it. Let's say you are talking about sizes. What could be the sizes? It could be small, it could be medium, it could be large, right? Similarly, what could be the list for the colors? It could be red, blue, yellow, orange, right? Let's say you wanted to create a list of browsers, Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and all that, right? And you will find the usage of enums when we talk about our framework, where we want user, let's say, to decide only from a predefined list of browsers, and we will say please select a value from this predefined list, and then we will open up appropriate browser for you. Okay, that could be one of the application which you will find for the, let's say, enums in our case. Okay, so you have to understand where enums will be used and how to use it, how to create it. We saw that. What are the methods involved? We saw that. Now I think we are fine. I don't want to cover anything else. Otherwise, we covered this part. We covered this part. Okay, let me just write in one thing in my notes. Uh, Enums cannot be instantiated. Okay, we saw that. Okay, fine. I think we are good with enums, right, everyone? Please go back and try this, okay? And you will realize that this works, okay? So let me just control V here. Yeah. So this is about enum. The next part, let's talk about our debugging thing, right? Which I was telling you. For that, I have already created some classes, so it will save some time. This is package one, right? And these are three classes which I have created, which is a demo class. Okay. There is another school class which I have created. Let me open the right split. And there is a student class. Open the right split. Okay, let's see this. Now you can see what is the flow. Let me just explain you the flow. There is a school where it has students. Okay, where it will have students. So I have created two classes, one for school, okay, and one for student. So student, I am just gathering the name of the student, and I am gathering that name using the constructor. Okay, so this is a simple constructor, and then I have used to get the name of the user, right, which is getting set from the constructor. Maybe I just want to print the name, right? So I'm doing it from this, right, using get name method. So very simple, nothing very fancy around it. Just a single variable, a constructor, and a method. Now inside the school, what I did was, again, very simple. I just created an array of students here, right, where I've said that okay, my school has only 2 students, and to do that, right, what I've done is I have created a method get students here, and inside this method I'm creating the new instance of the students, right, of this class, and assigning and adding them in this array. Okay, in this array here, and then as part of this method I'm returning those students. So this method here, right, will, whenever executed, right, it will add these two values to the array again, right? This is what it will do. Okay, now the last class, which is the demo class, which has my magic method, which is main, and that is the purpose of it. I just created this class so that I can run my code. So this is my main method, and here I am creating the instance of the school, right? And here I'm just invoking this method get students, which returns me this array, and that's why an array is a iterable list. I mean, a iterable thing, right? So I can use this for loop, and for every student I get from this array here, I'm running the method on it, which is get name. Okay, which will print me this. Any confusion on this program? First of all, anyone? Or do we understand this program? This is very simple, right?
I am confused with the syntax format which you have used inside for loop. Student s is to s1 dot means
This part.
yeah. Even in the try and that exception part also I was confused.
Have you seen the enhanced for loop or no?
Enhance for loop, no.
Okay, maybe you were not there in the class then. So we have two variants of for loop. Okay, one
Okay.
is the classic for loop, which you would be knowing, where you write int I equals to 0,
Yeah.
something like this, right? So that is
Yes,
called
yes.
as classic for loop. Okay,
Okay.
that is
Yeah.
the first variant of for loop. Java has another variant of for loop, which is called as enhanced for loop. Okay, and the difference in between both of them is the classic for loop. You work on the basis of index position, right? I equals to 0, 1,
Yeah,
2,
yeah.
3, right?
Yeah.
But in case of enhanced for loop, right, you do not work on the index position and you don't even care about the index position. What you care about the list which you get from that iteratable thing. Okay, so array is like more than one items, right? That's why we're calling as an array, right?
Yeah,
An
yeah.
array can have, that is the purpose of array, that we can group things together. And
Yeah.
when you're grouping thing, you can iterate through that group, right?
Yes.
So what happens there is the purpose. If your purpose is only to iterate through the group, right, starting from the very first position, right, then you can just use this for loop. Okay, and how it works is you have to give here, right? You first of all, there is a colon sign, and there's a left side and a right side to it. Okay, what is on the right hand side? Right hand side, you have to give the name of your group. Okay, name of your group, which name of your iteratable thing. Here, if you would see, what is s1 dot get students? Tell me,
Yeah.
what is get students?
Get
This is the
student
method.
contains arrays. Yeah.
It is returning array, so it is
Yeah.
similar to like you are putting here this thing, right? Let me write
Yes.
it here, right? So something like this, you're getting an array, and on the left hand side, you give a variable name, okay, which would be a variable name is s here, right? And what would be the type of it? The type of it would be the kind of values which this thing contains. So student array contains what?
It contains
Student,
students.
students
Yeah.
only, right? So that's why
Yeah.
I gave this name student here, right?
Okay.
Okay. Now I hope you understood the point, right?
Yes.
So
Get
what will
student.
happen in the first instance? What, let's say the loop starts working, right? Let's say this loop starts working here. The first time, what will be the s pointing to? S will be pointing to the first element in that array, which would be what? This thing, right? Your array of student has two items. One is this item, and second item is this. You can see, right? The size of the array was 2, right, Kelly?
Yeah, but it is just not student. Why s means why we are declaring that variable s along with it when we already have s1 dot get studio students.
This is, see, this is like you're saying, this on the right hand side, you say this is my source of data. This is my
Yeah.
source of data, right?
Yeah.
And which has multiple values, right? And when you are looping through the for loop, right? When you're using a for loop, what you want to do is you want to start from the first position, right? I mean, the first element, then you want to get to the second element, then third element, then the fourth element, right? What are
Yeah.
the, in Java, if you have to assign a value to something, right? You have to use the data type, right?
Yes.
So that is what we are trying to do here. We said that okay, s will point to the first element in the first loop iteration, but what is the data type of s? It is student, right?
Okay.
Because that is what you're getting from that array there, right? Okay.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so when you do s dot get name, where this is happening, it will happen on the first value it receives on the array. What is the first value in the array? This thing, right?
Yes.
Okay, and it will do what? It will say this student dot get name. So this thing and get name. So this will get invoked on this instance of the student, right? And it will print this line. Okay,
Yeah.
and here the name is what? Akhil. So it will print Akhil. For the second thing, right? What it will do? It will print Jan, right? So it will print name is Jan. Okay. Let me show you in the. Let me just run this in the normal mode. Let's see the output first. Okay, my bad. Just a second. I need to change this file. This is what demo, right? Let me go to demo. Okay, demo here. Let me run this. Now see the output you see. Name is Akhil, name is Jen, right? Ananya, you getting this or no? Ananya is not there. Okay, just one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ashok, this is clear to you, right? Sudhakar, you also?
Yes.
Yes, yes, Akhil.
Okay. Kusuma, for you also, right? This is clear.
Yes, Akhil.
Okay, great. So now this program is very simple, right? But let's see like how we can use debugging here, right? In debugging, let's first understand some of the terminologies. Okay, let's try to understand this. Let's say that someone has written a framework and it just passed on to you. It just came to you, right? And you don't know where things are starting from, right? Someone gave you a command line thing and they say that okay, please run this and this will start running. And you think okay, magically something is happening inside this because that complete project contains around thousands of different files, right? And it would be very cumbersome for you to understand like where the control is moving from one class to another and all the methods there which are involved, right? So it becomes a very tedious process. I am taking an example when you do not know anything about the project, but even if you know about the project, right, even then it gets tedious sometimes because you do not remember everything by heart, right? And it is not that a single person has designed that complete project. No, it's a team effort. So you do not know like maybe what someone else would have added. So maybe you do not know about the logic which someone else would have added there, right? So you may not be aware about some of the components. So let's say that you want to understand like what how is your flow of execution is when you run your program, what is getting executed line by line, where the control is moving when the execution is happening, right? So if you have that thing in mind, you can use debugging. Okay, you can use debugging process. Debugging. Okay, debugging, debug, whatever you say. This is what you would be doing to run this, right? You have to run this mode at least from id, right? You can see, right? Debug, right? And you have to make sure whatever class you want to start with, right? Demo is your class where it has a magic method, right? So accordingly please select the one which has that method and then start playing debug, right? But debug will behave as debug if you have some breakpoints. Okay, so the first thing which you need to understand is breakpoint. What is a breakpoint? Breakpoint is a place in your code where you want your execution to pause. Okay, your execution to pause. Okay, so this is your line number, like line number. So in this case, let's say I want to pause at line number 10. Okay, you can understand when I will run this, JVM will start running my main method and it will be running this line first and then it will go to this line, right? But since I placed the breakpoint here, the program will not stop here. It will run this, but it will stop here. Okay, and until I I ask that program to continue running, it will it will be paused at this position only. Okay, it will not be completing itself. Okay, so breakpoints are a very vital way if you want to look at some of the line and try to understand how we are reaching to this point. Let's say I added a breakpoint here, right? And let's say a breakpoint here, Java field set breakpoint. Okay, Java field Java line. Just a second, let me stop this execution. Okay, it stopped. Java field watch. And if I do what, Java line breakpoint, and let's say this one, and this is the method here, right? Let me add the breakpoint here also. Okay, now see this. What will happen? Now think about the execution flow. Try to do a dry run at your end, right? Try to see this. Your JVM will start running this main method. It will run this line, and then it will start running this loop, right? Once it is running this for loop, first of all, it will run this line student s, So it got to know, okay, what is S? S is a student type. But it will here, right? It sees a method invocation here, right? It will not go to this line until it gets to know what is to be done here. So when it is at line number 10 here, right? And it sees this method, it will go to this method and run this. So the control from line number 10, right, would move from here. It will go to this line, get students, right? Line number 7 here on the school class. So it will go here, it will start executing this. So it will run this line, it will run this line, it will run this line, and it returns you the students. So it will return you the students array. So everything gets returned here. So now JVM knows, okay, what it is really dealing with. Okay. And once it is completed this line, then only it will move to this line. Now when you are here, right, it says s.getName. S.getName is what? Now try to understand, your array had 2 items. So this s.getName will run twice. First for the first value of that array, and then second for the second item for that array. So when it says s.getName, it is like you're running for this value, name this position. What is getName? GetName is this method. So when this line is executing, the control will move from line number 11 to this line, which is line number 11 of student class, and it will run this line here, and you will see the output. Okay. And then it will again check, is my array completed? No. It will get to know, okay, there is one more value there, right? So it will go there and try to run the loop for that value. And again, it will say s.getName. It will go to print the s.getName for the second value, right? Let us see this in action by using debugging. Is it really what happens? Okay, let's start doing this. Let me put everything in here as breakpoints. Okay, and this part. Let's start running this. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Let's start. So how do you start? You select the proper class and you start running this debug thing. Now this debug console opens up. Okay, and if you want to see all the breakpoints, right? How many breakpoints I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Currently, you can see all 7 because I have opened up these 3 tabs, right? But let's say you have hundreds of classes and you have placed some breakpoints here and there, right? And it will not be very, I mean, you cannot see this everything in your IntelliJ IDE panes, right? You cannot open 100 tabs there. It will make no sense. So what you can do is, let's say you want to still see like where you have put the breakpoints. You can just go up here and try to see from this. Where is your breakpoint, right? It will start showing you. Okay.
But what we are doing by giving these breakpoints, I am not getting what
I'm
actually
telling
we are
you,
doing.
I'm telling you that now I'm going to that point, right? Now see this. You can see, right? Where is your program stopped? You can see, right? It has not completed. Did you got your output? Okay, let me first clear this. Let me just a second. Let me clear this console here. Delete. Right. So this is empty here, right? There is no output. If your program gets completed, what should be the output? Name is Akhil, and then the next line name is Jen. Right, Shelly?
Yeah.
Right. That should be your output.
Yes.
If I am running in the debug mode, first of all, see you will not see that output as of now. Why? Let's see. See, it is still running. Let us go in the debug mode. So you can see, you see this yellow line, right? On the first breakpoint. This was your starting point. Main method is your starting point, right? Because this is your entry point for JVM. Right? We agree on this, Shelly?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And then once it has gone inside this is the first line it was on. But I have placed a breakpoint on it, right? And let me first show you that the program is not completed. There is no output yet on the console, right?
Yeah.
So program is somewhere in between, right? It has started, but it has not completed. It is somewhere in the between. Now let's go here. If you would see this, it shows you the method name, which is main. It shows you the line number 6, and it shows you the class name, which is demo, and it shows you the package name, right? So it is telling you that currently at what place you are at, where is the control of, where is your uh, flow of execution stuck at. So it is stuck at this line, which is main 6. Because why? Because I've added a breakpoint. Breakpoint is like your break time, right? You said, okay, Okay, I don't want to do anything else. I'm pausing my video here. Okay, it's like your break time. So it is like you have added a breakpoint here, and now you wanted your program to wait on this line until you ask the program to continue running. You're getting that point now, Shelly? Your program is stuck at line number 6 as of now. Why
Yeah.
are we doing all this? I'm getting to that point. Okay.
Yeah.
Now see this. You see this S1, school S1 equals to new school. Now, if I see, do I have S1 as of now? Let's see this. Cannot find local variable S1. Okay, you see this line here, right? Cannot find local variable S1, right, Shelly?
Yes.
What is S1? S1 is a type, is a reference variable of school type. So even if it is not, let's say, assigned or something, right? It should have shown. It is not showing. Why? Because this line has not executed till now. So stack does not know about this variable yet. Okay.
Yeah.
If I run this, if I move to the next line, okay, let me go there. Let me go there. I'll talk about these three buttons. Okay, but let's just move along. Step over. It went inside. Step over. It went inside where? Oh, because I put it up breakpoint here, right? Now see this. This line ran, right? This line ran. Okay, when I ran this thing, right? It ran, and where the control went to, you can see the control now is at this line. School, this part, right? Right.
Yeah.
Now see this. You can see this is like your stack. This is like your stack from main 6 demo, right? Now you can see where is your control. Your control is on school. This is your class name, and the line number is 5. Okay, and here it is trying. You can see, right? It is saying new school here. It is trying to run this. Let me just run it again. Step over, step into, and step out. Okay, let me just keep running this and see. Now it is back to main 6, right? And let's see what is S1 now. Okay, it is still not completed. Let me run this again. Now you can see once it has moved from line number 6 to line number 10 now. Okay, you can see the S1, there is a value assigned to S1, which is school at the rate 712. You can see this, right? S1 equals to school at the rate 712. What is this school at the rate 712? Does anyone know?
The address.
Address.
Right. This is the address. If you remember yesterday, right? Again, the stack discussion, the everything, right, which we discussed yesterday, or before that class. This is where, right? This is we said school S1 equals to school, new school. When you do a new school, you're creating an object, right? Where do you create an object? On the heap. So school got created here, right? So this is a school thing which got created, and it is referred by whom? S1, which is in where? Which is in the stack. If you look at the address position here, right? What happens here? Identifier, address, and the value. And if you would look here in the heap, we have address and value. Address and value. So let's first see this S1. So S1, let's say, what is the address position of S1? The address position of S1 is this, school at the rate 7112. Okay, school at the rate 7112. No, just a second. The address is some. It would be something, right? It would be something. But let's say this one. This is school here, right? So let's say the address portion here is school at the rate 7112. Okay, this is the address portion of this, and this is your school here, right? New school which you did. This is the position. Now you will have a value of S1 as what? This only, right? So this would be school at the rate 712. Okay, this is that address position which S1 will have, but this is the value which it holds, which is pointing to the value stored in the heap, right? Now when you did this S1 equals to this, right? it is not showing you the address of S1. No, it is showing you the value of S1. And what is the value of S1? This thing, okay, which is this part. Now see this. So until now, what we have done, we have just did this part, right? Just a second here, right? Now we did S1 here. Let's see, do we have S variable as of now? Let's see. You can see, right? There is no variable of S because this line, it is stuck at this line. It has not executed this line. It is still stuck at there, right? So if I run this now, step over, you can see where it went. Student S1 dot get student, right? So it went inside this method. You can see it went inside this method and it will create two instances now, okay, of student class. And let's run it. It ran this. You can see when it tried to run this, it went inside this. See, this is where it is happening, right? It is going to set the values in your in the constructor call of the student class, right? Which is this part. So it went here, right? And this will assign the name to name. And the amazing thing is that you can also see the values here also. See this. You see this name. It shows it is null as of now. And this name is what? This name has a value Akhil. Okay. And you can see this here also, right? IntelliJ is also giving these values. Okay. But maybe this here it is not very much clear. But you can just hover over the values and get to know what is the current value these values are pointing to. These variables are pointing to. This is pointing to null as of now. And this name is pointing to Akhil. Okay. And where did you got Akhil here? From this variable C here. Akhil here. And who invoked this method? If you would check this is the one which is invoked this method, right? Right? You can see you are currently at student line number 8, which is this. And how did you reach there? You can read this line. Get students 9 school. School is this class. Get student is the method. Line number 9 is this. So this is the one because of which the control moved from this line to this line. Okay. This is a very good thing, right? Debugging. Not everyone uses it. Even I don't use it on a regular basis because I understand my code, so I don't have to go there to check the debugging part. But when you are working in a team and you're trying to understand a logic which you have not written, this can be a lifesaver. Okay, this will really help you. Or if you're trying to debug a issue, right, where let's say there was a production issue or something, right, your test case is not working. You think that it should work, but it is not working. However, what you can do is you can use in the debug mode, you can add the breakpoints which you think could be an issue for you, right? And then start debugging it. You can go line by line and get to know, okay, what is happening in this line? What is happening in this line? What are the values my variables are holding, right? So it will behave that way, right? Similarly, if I show you this now, right? See the students one. If I hover over it, no such okay, because it moved to this, right? So let me just move back. Let me complete this. And let me just go back here, right? Now, if you would see the students 0, you can see, right, what is the value it is pointing to? It is not saying new student. It is saying students 2 @714. What is this? Again, this is the address position of your heap item, right? New student will get created where? In the heap. And this is student is pointing to what? That address there, right? This is the address. Okay, this is the address. Let's keep doing this now. Right, and now you can see name is Jen and all that. You can see, right, we are seeing the complete control. We're able to see the complete flow, how things are moving. Just telling you, while running this, right, just to run this line, it has to first go inside the constructor of the student class, which it did. We understood that. It went back and then it did the same thing for this thing. Again, it went into the constructor of it and it set the name as what? Jen there, and then it set the value, right? And in the process, you can see student 0 got some other address, student 1 got some other address, and you can see it from here. If you don't believe, you can see 0, right? It's pointing to 717 address, and 1 is pointing to 719 address. And what exactly they are holding? If you go inside this, it is holding this value, Akhil, and this. See, there is too much of the information which you do not need actually. That's why I'm not trying to show you that, right? But you have to understand that using debugging, right, you can get to know the your execution flow. You can get to know about your variable values at the runtime itself. What is the value which your variables are holding now? Okay, so this is what you can do. Okay, now what else? Let's just complete this part. So the debugging has not stopped yet, right? You can see it has not stopped yet. Let me go ahead, and now you can see now the control went back to your this line here, right? For loop, because this time s1 dot get students got completed, and you will have some values. Let me run this command, s1 dot get students. Let's see what did we got. You see this? I got what? I got a result which is this, which is holding two items 0 and 1, and 0 is pointing to student address 723 and is pointing to student address 724, right? And you, if you would compare this, see this here, right? This address position 723 724 723 724, Akhil and Jen, Akhil and Jen, right? Okay, okay, if let's move ahead, if I now run this, now that line got completed. It got whatever it wanted. Now there is nothing left on that line, so it moved ahead. And now we are here, right? And here it will do what? It will say s dot get name, right? If you want to go inside this, I have not used a breakpoint here, right? You can see I have not used a breakpoint. If I want to go inside this and see what where the control will move to, you will have to type a step into. If you do step into, it will go into the get name, and you can see, right, the control move to this line. And now until now there was no output here, right? See this, there was no output. And if I run this line now, see this, okay, see your console. So it has not printed yet. Oh, it has not completed now, that's why. Let me just complete this. You can see, right, this control, this complete method got completed, right? And if I go to the run thing, so why it has not printed? Just a second.
I think console on the top, right?
Oh yes, here, right? Sorry, yeah, this is the one, right? Where it prints here. This is the debugger section. This is the console. So this will print here this time, right? Name is Akhil. In the end, right, it will print everything here, I believe. But let me run this. So you can see name is Akhil got printed. So the first iteration of the for loop ended. Now the second iteration is about to start. That's why the control moved back to this. But this time it will already have the values of s1 dot get student, right? And I want, where is that variable thing? Or debugger part, right? Here you can see what is the value of my s. Right, it is pointing to string at the rate of 712 110. Okay, let's run this. And this time s dot get name, you can see, right, s dot get name, you can see it is pointing to student at the rate 724, right? Again, this is what, this is your address, the heap memory address of your string. Okay, again, because string is an object, right? So it's that value. And if I move it again, you can see it went there. It will this time the value of this dot name is Jen. You can see, right, this dot name is Jen. This dot name is Jen, and you can just hound over it. You can see name is Jen. Okay, and let's just complete this. And the once it completes here, you can see it got printed name is Jen. And then let me just complete this part. And now it again went back to see whether I have an item or not. This time there is no further item. It will just come out of this. It went out of the loop, and now it will complete. You can see, right, it just printed this. Did we show anything? Okay, okay, one, okay. So this is the console output, right, for you. It printed name is Akhil, name is Jen. So again, just again repeating, what is the agenda behind using debugging is how it is done. First of all, put a breakpoint in any place. Let's say I'm not putting in a lot of places. I will put it at one place. Let's say this one. If you have even a single breakpoint, right, and you use a debug thing, right? Let's say currently I do not have a breakpoint, right, everyone? If you run the debug thing, it will not stop anywhere because you did not have a breakpoint. It will just print everything and come out of it. Okay, it did not stop this time. Until unless you have a breakpoint, it will not stop. Now I have a breakpoint, so once it starts running, it will see a breakpoint and it will stop there. So we have to understand what is the usage of breakpoint. Breakpoint helps your debugger to know where to stop. Once it is stopped, now it is on to you what kind of depth you want to go into. Here, right? See, you have put a breakpoint in this class, which is demo, and it is going here, right? Now let's say that you can see right here, if I have to run this line, if I have to run the entire program, there is a involvement of these two classes also. And we saw like if we put breakpoints in all these places, then you will get to know, you will reach there and there and there, right? You were able to see the complete flow. Let's say I have just put one breakpoint, right? And I still want to go and see like where the control is going. So there are three options in debugging: step into, step over, step out. Okay, what is step into? Step into will behave like a line by line execution. It will show you per line where the control is moving across your entire program. And where is that option? That option is here in the debugger. We did not start it, right? Let me start this. So you can see I have put a breakpoint here, right? At line number 6. Right? It stopped there. If I just run this right step over, you will see it will just come, it went there. Okay, okay, it is going line by line. Okay, I understood. Let me just, you can see right here, it is doing all the things in the same class. It is not, you are not able to see that the control is going to school and student, right? You can see it did not went there even once. You can see it is just playing here only, and it completed the for loop. It will come out of it. Okay, this is the behavior of step over. Okay, let me show you again. So the point is, if you do not, let's say in your logic you have written something which requires you to move from your current class, right, to somewhere else, to some other value, to some other thing, right? But let's say you do not care about those other things and you want to stick to the same class, right? You just want to understand this logic only, right? You do not care what someone would have written inside this, or what someone would have written inside this, and you do not care to look at the logic also. But I mean, so the simplest way is that you can use step over. Okay, step over will make sure that if it finds an instance of a method invocation, it will not go inside that method to show you the details. It will just skip that. It will just treat this like a simple line. Okay, and it will just run this, and whatever internal evaluation it has to do, it will do it by itself. It will not show you that. Okay, let me show you again. We remember like how things happened in the first case, where I put the breakpoints in every place. I have put a breakpoint here only, right? And this is currently running, right? This is currently running, and it is here, right? If I run this step over, I'm talking about step over, right? It will not go inside your method invocations. Where is method invocation? Here also and here also, right? You can see, but it will just keep on running in this class only. Okay, let's run this. You see, it went to line number 8, then it will go to line number 9, it will again go to line number 8, it will again go to line number 9, and then it will again go to line number 8, just to check whether the array got finished, right? So that it does not have to go inside the for loop again. So it will again, now if you see, the for loop ended and your execution got completed. So what is step over? Step over, if you want to have such kind of a behavior where you don't want to go inside individual methods, use step over. Okay, if let's say you want to go inside every line, everything, right, which your program would be doing to execute your code, right? What you should do, you should use step into. Let's start this. I have again run the debug mode, and this is your point, step into. Okay, so the second option, step into. Now keep pressing this. You see the control from this line went to this line. It's cool. It will then go to this line. It will then go to back to this, right? Then, okay, can someone tell me, when I'm running this line number 6, I understand I'm creating a school here, so it went to this line number 3 here, right? But why did it go to line number 5 and not go to this line? I mean, to this method. Let me do one more thing. Let me just check my understanding also. Just a thing. Let me create a variable here, string, school name. Okay, equals to none. Right. Let's run this now. I just want to check one thing, whether my understanding is correct or not. So then in the debug mode, let's do a step into. It went to the school. It will go to this. You can see it went to line number 5. And if I do this, it went to line number 7. But notice, it will not go to line number 9. It just moved out of it. Right? Why is that? Does anyone know?
Maybe because they are instance variables, global variables.
Absolutely correct. This is what it is, right? When you create a object of a class, right, what do you get? Instance variables only, right? Because those are something where you will be writing your values at, right? Because those values are something which your instance has, right? If you create 2 instances of school, what those 2 instances will get? They will get their own copy of this students also and school name also, right? So you have to understand, like, this way of debugging, right, is also helping you understand how Java runs inside it, right? It created a school object and it added 2 instance variables for that copy. Okay, it did something like this. See here, it created a heap memory and then it saw this line new school. It first created a new school and then what it did, it went inside this. It went inside this and it saw, okay, these are 2 instance variables. So it first went there, and what it will do here is it will go here and add your, sorry, right? It will do what? It will say, it will add here student array, okay? And then it will also add what? School name to your this object, right? School 1, let's say, right? And if you create another instance of school, same thing will happen. School 2, student, right? And school name here. Okay, we understood, right? What are instance variables? The instance variables helps you to get the values of your data, right? I mean, the value which you want to have uniquely for that classes. Okay. Okay, let's just move it down. Here again, right? We are on this line, right? Oh, okay, what I did, we were talking about step into, right? So you can see, right? So let's move ahead. So this line got completed because we just created one instance of the school. So it went inside the school, it ran this line, it came to know about it, it would have created something on the heap, and that is good right here, right? If you now put step into, now that line got completed, and you can see S1, you can read here also, right? S1 is pointing to a value which is school at the rate 712. This is your heap address. Okay, this is your heap address of your school instance. Okay, try to understand. This is your heap address, right? Now it went to this line. Now see, if you keep doing step into, right, it will go to every method and every line of it. See this, you clicked on this went here, and now here you're trying to create a student class, and there also you have an instance variable name and you have a constructor there. See what will happen. It first went to name here, right? You can see here, right? Now it went to this array here, and if you go this, you will see this dot name, right? It will get that value, right? It is doing line by line, and again the control went back to this line. Now your student 0, right, it is currently null, but once it moves from this line, student 0 will have a value. You can see student 0 did got a value. Okay, and student 1 is as of now is null. But once it starts doing, right, the control is at line number 12 here. If I do step into, again it will go to the next line of execution. It went here, right? It did this and step into again to set the value, right? It did the value here, and then it went back, and you can see student 1 is currently null, but if you move from this line to the next line, it will have a value. You can see it has a value now, and now it will return students. Now when you return students, you're returning a student array, right? Which this will be pointing to. So now the control from this line will move back to this line. Okay, you can see, and now it will go to the next line, s dot get name, and here you will see it will go inside this get name. It will print whatever you will have here, right? You can see on the console it printed this, and now do step into again. It went back to the for loop, and this time it already has a value, so it will not run this, all of this. It will simply go to the next line, and this time this is the second value in that array, and it will complete this. Name is, you can see it is not printed yet. So if I run this, now it went to this line, and the output would be there. Okay, so step over and step into should be very clear here. Step into you should only use if you want to see every line of your code. You want to see how did your program went from this line to the next line to the next line to the next line, right? If you are so concerned about that logic to understand like how the flow is, then you should use this technique. Yes, Atul, please.
Akhil, when we were, I mean, when we stepped into this student class, no, when
The
we did
second time,
new student Akhil,
right?
for the first time or the second time, I was expecting the flow to stop at line number 5 first,
Right, right,
and then move on to the
right.
constructor.
But you saw that for the first time it did that, and for the second time it didn't, right?
Not really sure. I think for the first, maybe I missed it. I thought that for the first time also it didn't stop. I'm not sure.
Let's do this. Let me just complete this and then start it again. What I noticed that it stopped for the first time, it did not stop for the second time, which is valid, right? Because
No, it does not go. It doesn't go anytime in string name. Okay.
it didn't go there. Okay, let's
Yes,
try.
because in the first we have a default constructor, right? So it will initialize the value. So that's what in first time it go to that student and school name. But in here we have to initialize the values, right? That's what is going to that constructor.
Okay, let's see this again.
Okay, so my understanding was that even before it steps to the constructor, it would halt at line number 5, line number 5 to register that instance variable.
Which is
The
correct.
same way,
Which is-
it stopped at line number 5 of school.java.
line number 5 of, yes, this thing, right? At
Yeah.
this line and this line, right? Which is
Yeah.
absolutely correct. Which is also my understanding. Let's see this whether this happened or not, right? Let me run it again. So I am starting the execution again. Let's see. So here we are on this line, right? Let's do step into again. So it will first go here. You can see it went to school, and it will go to this line number 5. It went to line number 7, and then it will come out of it, right? And then it will go to the next line, get students. It will go here to this line here, right? And here we are trying to create the student thing, right? Let us see what happens here. If we do step into, okay, you're saying it went here directly. Okay. 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 And what Sudhakar was saying is that because we have created the constructor here,
The
right?
constructor, especially to initialize the object, right? In first case, we don't have any constructor. I mean, parameter constructor. It internally creates a default constructor, right? JVM. So at that time, it was initialized students and school name with default values.
Right.
So here we write to initialize the values to the string name. So that's what it's going to that constructor.
But if I create a new variable here, let's say, and I'm not initializing it to the constructor, what will happen in that case? Let me see this. So your
We
observation.
have a particular we have particular constructor, right?
So you're saying based on the constructor invocation, whatever is
Yes.
required there, it will set that value, right? It will
Yes.
move to that line. Okay. Let us check. Let me just stop everything, and let's just create one more variable here. I will add here int employee a student roll number. Let's say roll number, right? And I'm not going to initialize any value. Let it be, right? And let's
Again,
start.
let's add one more
No,
variable, and
even after student construct executed, it will go to that rule number into rule number, I guess.
It will
So-
go there.
so let's
I
create
think.
one or two more variables. Maybe assign.
No, it doesn't go, I guess. Already the object is created, right? in student string name constructor.
Let's try.
So,
Let's try this. Let's try this. Okay, let's try this, and then
so
we'll get to
the
know.
roll number internally assigned with the default value.
Oh, you're saying here we are initializing it, and here we are not initializing it. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see.
That
Let me
Akhil,
remove this.
Akhil, for the same reason, let's
No,
also
not
add another
initializing.
variable and let's also initialize something to distinguish between the two. So int roll number and then maybe int a equals 5, something of that sort.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's
let's see the complete observation now. Okay, so let's start this. Let's see what happens here. So we started here, and let's do step into little line by line. Here you can see it went to line number 5. It okay. It did not go to line number 7. It did not go to line number 7. Okay, it did not go line number 7. Okay, okay. Then what is happening here? It went to line number 8. Okay, and then it went to get students, and then it did this, and here it is saying string name, and
It not goes to that.
here
in-
it went to
yes.
this value and it initialized
Yes.
that value. Ah, okay,
Yes.
okay. Now, Sudhakar, I got your point. What you're trying to say. Okay.
So wherever we are doing
Initialization part, right?
assignment, yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Then it is going to that line to get the value of your a thing, right? A thing or whatever that variable instance
To
variable
obtain
is.
that value, otherwise
Right.
it simply holds the
The
default value
default values, right?
and
Okay.
doesn't go to that line. Okay.
Okay. Great. This is a nice observation. Okay, great. So what is happening is, right? What is happening in this case is, if you go back to right what we were saying about this, right? What is happening here is, whenever you do this new student, right? New school, when we did this, right? Whenever this line gets executed, it knows that it has to create the object, right? And here it does know that it has two variables, right? Whatever the instance variable it has, it comes to know about it. So let's say, what are the instance variables here? It has student and school name, right? So it goes there and it creates a student, right, which is an array, and a school name, right? But these are both what? School name is a string, and this is array again, which is an object, right? Here, the default value of both the what are the default values of the object thing? It is null, right? Null. So whenever this line gets executed, this is something which gets created. Okay, so this is something which got created. But since we have initialized, right, some values to them, right? What it goes it after creating the school, right? At this line itself, right? After creating this line itself, after running line number 3, it did all of this. It did all of this. Okay, it did all of this. So this is created. This created a school, right? On this, when it went here, right? At this line itself, it came to know, okay, there are two variables here. It started null here, but it went. If you have initialized a value to it, right? It goes there. It removes the existing value, and whatever you've initialized, it writes it here. Okay, and in case of school now, you can say there was null here, right? So it did not go there and to set the value. So Sudhakar is absolutely right what he said. This is the very good observation which he mentioned, right? And this is a learning for me. I was thinking that what happens here is that this line, right? These two things gets created when it starts running one by one. No, that is not the case. What happens here is that as soon as this class school got created, right? It came to know, okay, what all instance variable it has. So it has already added them. But what value they were assigned with? They were assigned with the default values. But what should be the actual value? The value which you would have specified here, right? And that is what we can see while we are debugging, that how that value gets assigned there. Okay. And in all these cases where we are assigning the value, there the control moves to set the values. Otherwise, the other things are skipped. Okay. Is everyone getting this point?
Akhil, can you repeat this one more time? Just
Okay. See, what I'm saying is, you see this school here, right? This
Yeah.
school has two instance variables. One is a student, which is an array, and a school name, which is a string.
okay.
Both the things are in Java, right? Both the things are objects. Okay.
Yeah.
Array is also an object, and string class is a class anyhow, right? So what are the default values which objects gets in Java? Null, right?
Null. Yes.
Right. So here, if I mean, when you create the if there was no value here, right, for the students, what value it would receive? Null, and for this also null. Now what I'm saying is, when debugger was running, right, what it did was it saw this line, right, new school. So it went there, it created a school for us, right, and it added this here, right, it added this instance here with the new
Hmm.
school thing, right, and it added two variables here, which are the instance variables. One is for this student thing, right, and it
Yeah.
assigned it to null, and then it did school name equals to null, although we did not see it happening in the debugger side. Okay.
Hmm.
But at running this line itself, line number 3, this is something which got already created. Okay.
Hmm.
At line number 3 itself, this is something which already got created. Okay. Once the line number 3 got executed, now what it did next is, for whatever variables the value was set, you can see, right, for students array the value was set. So the debugger first went to that line and set the value to it in your
Hmm.
heap. Now it is not null, it is new student, right? So it
Hmm.
did this, but it did not go to the string school name. Why? Because we have not initialized any value to it.
Mhm.
Okay. So that is what we are discussing here. So it did not go to this line here.
Okay.
Did not go to this line. Why? Because you are not setting a new value. It is a default value which it already knows about.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
And that is how we saw the observation here also. Let me just run it again one last time. See everyone. I think it should be clear now. But thank you Atul and Sudhakar, right, for mentioning this. This is good.
Akhil, just one thing. Let's
Yeah.
also add one variable assignment to school.java.
Variable assignment to school.java means which thing?
Somewhere, yeah, school.java, the middle one, yeah. Let's add one more variable assignment here to rule out.
Okay. Int, let's say school ID. Okay.
Hmm.
What is the default value for int? 0, right? What is the
Yeah.
default value of string? Null. What is the default value of students? Would have been null only, right? But here we are initializing it with some value. Here also the value is null, the default value. The value for this would be 0. The value for this would have been 0, but here we are initializing it, right? Now let's run this. And here also, right? Okay, no, this is a local variable, so this does not make sense. So let's run this. Let's where we are here, right? Okay. Okay. So we are here at line number 6. Let's step into, right. Once you do, it went to line number 3, and I'm saying at this line, once this line would get completed, it would know about all these 3 variables and their default values. Okay. But once it is done with that, right, it will then see where we have initialized the value. It will go there and initialize it. Let's see this. You can see here for students, we are setting a new value apart from the default value. So it went there. Let's see whether it goes to line number 8 or 9. And hopefully it did not go. So our understanding as of now is right?
Right.
Okay. Now let's see next. We go to get students. It went there. It will go to new students. We have 3 variables and only one variable, the value is getting set.
Akhil, one more thing. Can you expand this?
Where?
This equals a student at the rate 717. If you can expand that.
This just a second. This will be for this thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
7, right.
So it has registered the default values.
Yes. As of now, it has registered the default values. See, the values of this a equals to 7 will be set once the constructor call is done. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. We understood, right, that it is on the constructor call, right, when the instance variables gets created, right, in the heap. So let's run this. You will see now int a equals to 7 was set. Right. Int a equals to 7 is set. And now once it completes this line, you will see a equals to 7 now. Right. And now it will do what? It will set this dot name equals to name. Now the name value will be set. You can
There
see
you
name
see.
equals to
Yep.
okay. Right. Right. This is how it is working. But again, this clarity you will only get if you are doing one by one, which no one has a time on. Okay.
Exactly.
Even I don't go there. to see this all this. So I very rarely use debugging, right? I don't use it. So, but again, if someone wants more clarity, please, like how to do it now. Okay, please use it. Okay, but my point was about step into. Now I hope you're understanding what is step into. If you want to go by line, where the control moves from one line of code to another line of code in your entire program, you have to use step into. If you want to do not, if you're not interested in that part, you just simply want to stay in your current thing, right? In your current piece of execution, which is a demo, right? It will do everything here itself, right? You can do what? You can just keep on step over, right? It went here, right? You were here right now, right? And then it did not bother to go inside the student again and then show you all the control from here, right? Line of line. When I did step over. So it just simply did that part internally and did not show you. And then it went to this line and I clicked on it. It again did not go inside this and just did it internally. Then it went to this line and then it went back from here to here. Now if I do step over here again, right? You will see it will just run this, again go up and this. You can see it is not going in the get name method, right? It is not going there. And now the things are done. Okay. So step over and step into are very good things, right? And most of the time, if you want to go into very detail, you will use step into. Otherwise, step over is sufficient. Okay. What is step out? What is step out? Let's just do that part also. Debug part again. As the name says, if you have gone to something in a nested place, right? I mean, let's say you started from here and you reached here in the get name thing, right? And now you want the control move to be back. I mean, you do not care about this, and let's say there are hundreds of lines, and you do not care about running all the lines, right? So what you can do is you can just put step out and you will move out of it. Okay, although it is very hard to explain, but I think once people will start doing it right, they will realize it. Like, what is step out? Let me do this. I will do first of all step over, and here I will go to step into, and here if I do this, you can see my control is here, right? And let me do this. Let me move to this line. I am at line number 12 here, right? If I do step out, let's see where it will go to. You can see here, right? If you would see this spec, I am currently at student line number 12, and before this get student was called at line number 13, and before this main was called. Let's see what happens in step out. You see, it just you can understand step out, like it just remove that thing from the stack, right? After doing all the processing internally, just move that out. Otherwise you would have like moved like more inside this, right? Now let's say you are not concerned about running this line, right? And you just simply want, see, you are here at line number 13, right? You are yet to run line number 14 here, right? Which would run this would again go here and run the things. Let's say you're not interested, right? If you do step into or things, right, it will go there. But I'm not interested in going any of this place. I will just do step out, and you can see that got removed from the stack. Okay, that item got removed from the stack, and now you are left with here, right, where you want it to be, right? And if you would see, if you run step over here, right, we were doing step out, so you went inside somewhere, and you wanted to totally, I mean, remove that thing, right? You do not want it to go inside it further. You just do step out and you move out of it. As the name says, step out, right? Moving out of it. So that is what it is, right? And then let's say if you go step into now, you can see you went here, right? And there is one thing here, right? And if you would do step out here also, right? What will be removed? This line will be removed, right? So entire process will complete, and you can see, right? Try to understand step out is doing one operation, which is popping off your last the item which you're seeing on the top of your stack, right? It is just popping it off, and whatever item you had before it takes you to that place. Okay, did we understand this part? Step out also. Okay, great. So this is what you have to understand about debugging, right? There are 5 important parts, like how to debug. You have to set a breakpoint first of all, at least in one place, and then you have to run this debug thing. Once you start doing this, there is a debug console here, right, which you can just debug tab here. If you click on it, there's a debugger and console, right? Once things starts running, you get three options: step into, step over, step out. Step into is your line by line execution. Step over is that you do not have to do line by line, and it will be skipping your method invocation. It will just simply run it internally and show and move to the next line of your current thing, right? Wherever you situated in. Step out you should use if you want to just move out of that complete thing, right, and move to the other item in the stack. So I think it will be more clear once you do it by yourself. Okay, but this is how debugging is done. And you can watch the value. If you want to watch a specific value, you can just type the value here, right, as is. If you wanted to see a value, I mean, if you wanted to check what is the current value of s1, you will just type s1 and press enter. Okay, and it will show you a result equals to and a value of it. Okay, so this is like a watch expressions. You type the logic here what you want to see as an output. You want to just evaluate things. Okay, and this is all about debugging. If you know this, you know everything about debugging, I feel, because I don't use anything extra apart from debugging. Okay, so what we covered today, we covered enums, we covered debugging. Okay, we are still left with this keyword. Oh, we are already at 9. Okay, great. Okay, let's talk about this also. Okay, let's talk about this. I do not want to lengthen that up. Let me make things simple. I will not use student class. I will do what? Let me create here class. Let me create here teachers. Okay, teachers, teacher. Okay, I create a teacher here, and I will provide a name here. Let me close school, and I will do what? I will type here teacher demo. Okay, teacher demo. Now teacher and teacher demo, I will create a main method here. This is my main method. Teacher, I will provide a name, just a simple name, string name. Here you can see I have not assigned a value, and I will create a constructor here. I will say public teacher, teacher, and string name, and let me say I am not using this keyword as of now. Okay, I'm not using. I will say something like this, because my local variable also is name and my instance variable name is name. My intention is that I want to assign a value to this variable coming from this value. So if it would have been something like this, let's say name one, right? So what would my logic be like? It would be this only, right? Name equals to name one. So everyone understand this part, right? I hope there is no confusion on this line, right? What I'm trying to do here. Whoever would be creating the instance of the teacher class, they would be providing a name to it, right? And I will be receiving it in name one. And whatever value I'm receiving, I'm trying to put here in the name. Okay. Right. Let me run this first. So this is what, and let me say teacher T1 equals to new teacher. Let's say okay. Okay. And now let's run this very quickly. Okay, let me run in the debug mode. Since we learned debug, let's run this. Let me put key brackets this here. No, this will not run. Let me stop this. I forgot to change this thing here. This has to be teacher. Teacher thing. Current file. Not teacher, teacher demo. Current file. Okay, and let's run this. Here, right? So the debug point stopped here, right? Which is here. Let me open teacher in the right split. And let me close this. Now see this. I am here, right? And let us do step into part, right? So I click step into. You can see it went to teacher, and here try to see what is the value of name one which you have provided from step 6. It is Akhil only, right? You can see name one is currently pointing to Akhil, right? Everyone, name one is pointing to Akhil. right? And you can see this. I did not created a this here, right? But it already existed, right? You can see there is a this keyword already pointing to some memory address, right? Which is an address of the object created on the heap already. So let me just try to design it here. What is happening here is, as soon as you saw this line, right, which was teacher T1, teacher T1 equals to new teacher A, right? It created this thing, right? It created this thing. This is a heap, and on the heap, right? Okay, I provided Akhil here, right? Akhil here, right? As soon as it new keyword was seen, it created a teacher object, right, everyone? And here, what was the value of name here? It is null as of now. Null as of now. It created this, and now what will happen is teacher Akhil, right? It provided this. Okay, let me draw the this thing also, right? In the heap address, what happens here? Address value. Let's say the address position of this object, this new teacher, which is Akhil. What is the address position? Address position is this only, teacher at the rate 712. I can show you, right? If you don't agree, let's see this here. Does it show it here or not? Let me type here T1. Let me type here T1, right? You will get to know. Okay, it will not show because I'm not here. Can I click here and type T1? Okay. Okay, it shows only in the current context where I am. Okay, I'm here. Okay, let it be. I will show you, right, what is the value of T1 there. But let us, as of now, you can, I will show you, but let me tell you what is the value here. The value is teacher at the rate 712. Okay, and here in the stack, what has happened is the identifier, the address, and the value. The T1, the address portion is whatever that value is, 001. But is the value? But value is this, teacher at the rate 712. That is the value. Now T1 should be pointing to this, right? So T1 is something pointing to this, right? This is what it means, right? So T1, if you would see, T1 equals to what? Teacher at the rate 712. And this is your what? This is your reference variable, right? This is your reference variable, which you created for the teacher class, right? In
Right.
Java, there is one additional thing which is happening. There is a concept of this, okay? And this always points to your current running instance, okay? Whatever instance you are currently running. So currently, which instance you are currently running? You're running this instance of new teacher, right? New teacher. So what will happen is this keyword over here will be pointing to this object, okay? If next time you are working on some other object, let's say school teacher or something, right, then this pointer, right, will not be pointing to this, but it will then start pointing to that object, okay? Something like this. So what is happening here? When I'm doing this on the graph, it means that it is pointing to this value here, right? This value here. That's why you can see, you are seeing this equals to teacher at the rate 712. Okay, let me tell you what this is. This will always point to the current invoked, what do we say, object or instance, or what the thing, just a second, will always point to the current invoked
Entity.
instance only, instance, right? This is instance on object, right? Whatever you want to say, right? So this will always point to your current running object, okay? Object or instance, whatever you want to say, but always the current running. So you see here, right? What is currently running? What is the object which is currently running? Teacher only, right? You can see teacher is running. So what is this pointing to? This is pointing to teacher at this 712, which is your this object, right? Okay, this object. So if you use T1 or you use this as of now, right? Both are referring to the same value. Okay. I should have created one more instance, but okay, let us first complete this and I will get one more instance of T1. Then it will make more sense. So, but as of now, see here, right? What is the value of name1? Name1 is Akhil here, right? Name1 is Akhil. And currently name is null, right? Because the value has not been set yet. Let us do this. It went to this line, but still it has not executed. Let me set the value. If I set this, right, now name is equals to Akhil. Name1 was Akhil. Let us check this also, right? Let me expand this. You can see name is Akhil. Okay, I should have shown you earlier first. Uh, let me just close everything, right? Let me create one more time. Teacher T2 equals to new. Let me write here Frizula. Okay. Now let us. It's not required. Only one breakpoint is enough. Let us current file here, right? This here. Let's run this in the debug mode. Let's see this clearly. What do we get? So we got into the main method, and here this line will get executed, right? Let me write step into. If I step into, right, you can see this keyword, right, is pointing to this value here, right? Teacher address n12, right? If you would see name is null here, right? Keep seeing name is null. Name is null. So I told you as of now what has happened is, forget about this as of now. Okay, forget about this. This is the object got created, name is null here, right? And this is the entry made in the table here, right? So T1 is pointing to teacher at the rate 1012, which I will show you next. But what I also told you is that there is a concept of this which will always point to your current running object. This is your current running object where you are currently sitting in, right? So this is pointing to teacher at rate 712. And this object has a variable. This object has a variable name, right? What is the value there? Null, right? Value is null. So you are seeing null only, right? You are seeing null here. Let me do step into now. Once I do this, name1 I got Akhil, right? Name1 is Akhil because that is the value I passed it from here. And name is still null. See this, name is still null. If I'm changing the name of this instance, right, of this teacher thing, and I'm saying that this keyword is pointing to this object currently, so this value should also change, right? It should not be null, then it should be Akhil. Okay, let's run this. You see, name got Akhil and name is also got Akhil. So you can understand this dot name, right, is equivalent to this name here, right? Why is that? Why is that? Because currently this name, right, which you're talking about is sitting as a part of this object here, right? Whichever you're trying to run here. And this keyword is also pointing to it, right? So this dot name is the same thing, right? Here, this part. So that's why it is showing Akhil here. And keep looking, right? Keep looking. This equals to teacher address 712, right? We have to see what would be the value of T1 now. Let's go there. Is it not showing this? Let me see here. Okay, it will show once we go to the next line. You see, teacher address 712. Are you getting my point? Where is T1 pointing to? This object. What is the address position? Teacher address 712. Where was this pointing to? At this value only, right? Because at that point this thing was running. So this is pointing to this object. So it is same as you're doing T1 or this. So as of this point of time, this is same, right? Using T1, what you can do? You can access the methods and the variables of this instance here, right? Of this new teacher, right? Whatever you're trying to create here. Right or wrong? Please answer that. If I do T1 dot
Right.
name or variable, you can get access to it, right? If I say T1 dot name, this is a valid syntax, right? You will get
Right.
access to the name variable of this object. Similarly, if you don't do this and you do this dot name, this is also doing the same thing. This is referring to the same object currently, right? And that's why this will also print the same output. Okay. But you have to understand there is only one this keyword, right? Next time when you are running the second thing, right? This keyword will be pointing to the then running object there. Let's see this now. You understood here, right? T1 was pointing to 712, and this was also pointing to 712. Now, a new instance of the teacher class will be created. Let's see this. You can see now this is pointing to teacher address 715. So why? Because a new instance of the teacher class was created. And now this is not pointing to this. This is pointing to this object. Okay? This object here. So now the entry for this is made 715 and new teacher. And it says Fizula, right? So it is pointing to it. Now this was happening for T2, right? T2 equals to new teacher. So T2 is pointing here. T2 is whatever that address is, but the value it is pointing to address 715, which is this object. And this object is placed here, right? This one. And similarly, this is also pointing not here, but to this. So repeat after me, right? This keyword is something which always points to your currently invoked object. Okay? Whatever that is. Okay? So, and why do you need it? If you already have T1 and T2, if you already have this references here, right? T1 and T2, then why do you need this keyword? Why would you need that? You would see, try to understand where is T1, T2 being declared. These are declared here only, right? In this class, teacher demo, right? These are not available here, right? These are not available here. These are not available here in the teacher thing, right? If you want, let me say here that I want to create a method. Let me stop everything first of all. Now let me tell you, public, I want to create a method here. Okay, I want to create a method here which will return me a teacher itself, an object of my teacher only. Okay, so let's say get teacher. Okay, let's say I will do this. Okay, get teacher or okay, let me do one thing. Let me make it interesting. Let me say int salary. Okay, int salary. I am not defining it. Let's say while taking the name, while taking this, right, I will accept the salary also. I will accept the salary also. And here, what I will do? I will do salary equals to salary. Okay. Now, let's say I will type here if name equals to Akhil. Okay. Then salary for this person, right? For this person should be what? This salary for this person should be current salary minus equals to 100 rupees. Okay, deduct 100 rupees from Akhil salary, right? But if it is Fizula, then add a salary of 100 to it, whatever that value is, add 100 rupees more to our salary. Okay, let's say this is the logic. And in the end, return the, here you have to understand, my intention is to return the teacher object. Now you tell me what should I told you my objective here is that I want to return the teacher object. Okay, now please think over it and let me know how can I return the teacher object from here. What should I type here if I want to return the teacher object? So here let me just complete this part, salary. Okay, first of all, you understood this part, right? That if I am using the same names in the instance variable and the local variable, right, and I'm doing name equals to name, what will happen here? This name and this name, right, are both referring to your local variable. Nowhere your instance variable are being taken up, right? So first of all, the first usage of this is that you have to use this here. And when you say this, right, this points to your object, your current running object. So this will understand, okay, that this is pointing to this new teacher, okay, which is invoked. And if you do a dot name on it, So it will point to what? It will point to this thing. Okay. This is that part, right? Similarly for the salary, this dot salary. Okay. So this always points to your current running object, which is in this case it will be this, and in the second case it will be this, right? Now please tell me, now I want to do what? I want to create a method which will do this calculation of salary, and then it will return me the teacher object. Tell me what should I write here?
This.
New teacher.
Okay, Atul, what you said is the right answer, but I was not expecting that. But let's say that I wrote this right, new teacher. Let's what you said is correct, and this is what I will do. Okay, but let's explore this option also. When Fizula says new teacher, now try to
Sure.
understand what happened here. What will happen here? Will this not create a new object altogether in your heap?
Yes, it would.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And what was my intention? I wanted to return the current running object, right? Which are like whatever that is, right? It would be either this one, right? Or this one, depending on where I am currently, which part I'm currently running, right? So try to understand it, right? I will not do this. I will not do this. What I will do is I will use this keyword. And this I told you, right? Points to where? This points to your current running object, right? So it will return what? Whatever you're running, it will return that. Okay. Now in the end, what I will do here? Let's see here. For Akhil, I will do what? I will set a salary as 1000, and for Fizula also I will set the salary as 1000, right? And what I will do is I will say here, right? New teacher, and I will say T1 dot get teacher. Okay, get teacher, and it will return me. It will return me what? See here. What is the return type of this method? Teacher here, right?
Teacher.
So I will get a teacher, and I will say dot salary here. Sorry, not salary, dot salary, right? Just salary, and I will have to put it into a out value. Okay. How this is possible is this is possible based on because of this keyword, right? This is points to like an object of this type, right? Whatever that object is created in the heap, and you are using, you can understand like this is like this here, this. So this dot salary is pointing to what? This, whatever object it returned, it will just give you the salary of it. Okay. And what object it will return? The current running object, which is what? Which is this. Okay. Okay, let me just print this. Dot salary. Okay, let's run this. Let's run this and see the output. I will not run in debug mode. I will just simply run this. You can see 900 and 800. And if you want, let me print the name also. Teacher name. Okay, one more thing. Let me do one more thing. Do you know how to print the address of your object? How can you do it? I think that will bring more clarity then. If I say t1 dot toString, right? What this will do? This will print your address. Okay, this will print your address. As of now, it will print your address. Let me print this, and then I will concatenate it with the value here. Okay, like this. And let me also print the, you can see, right? T1 dot get teacher is returning with this thing, right? So let me try to print the address of that thing. Okay, first let me get this, right? Let me make it simple. I will cut it from here, and I will create a new teacher object. I mean a teacher variable, not the object. Let me say T3, and I am doing what? T1 dot get teacher. We understand this part, right? Why I'm able to write this? Teacher T3 equals to T1 dot get teacher, right? Because get teacher is returning me a teacher only.
Yes.
So I got T3. So, but my point is that T1 and T3 are both pointing to the same thing. Why? Because T1.getTeacher is returning you this, and this is what you invoke. You are working on this object in that case, right? So it returned you what? It returned you the same object. Okay. And if I try to print the address of T3 now, T3.toString. Okay. See what is the difference. Do you find any difference or not? Let's run this. And let me comment the other things as of now. Okay. Let's just quickly run this. You see here the address position teacher@3b07 D329 and this. If I use the approach which Fizula was mentioning, right? New teacher. And here I will have to provide a value. Let's say I provide the same value. Okay. 1000, right? Let's say I did this. Now see this, what will happen. You're not working on the same object, you are working on something else. Okay. Let's run this. You see, in the earlier case, both the values were same. But this time, the values are different, right? So it shows that these two objects are different. But if you want to return the same object on which you are working, you will use this. What is the use case of this thing which I'm showing you? Like in the when you will learn about page object model pattern, right? When you will be writing your framework design, but when we would be designing a framework, right? We would be talking about design patterns, right? One of the design pattern is page object model pattern, where we would be required to do some method chaining. Okay, in method chaining, how do you chain one method with another? You use this concept of return this. You there the intention is that you return the same object which invoked that thing. Okay, so there you will find we are using return this. Okay, and there it would add more understanding, like why, what is this there. Okay, but try to again understand what is this. This is like a special thing which will always point to whatever your currently running object is. Okay, and it will give you that, and once you move to some other object, then it will point to something else. Okay, I hope, I'm not sure like what all clarity it would bring in to your understanding, but this is how this keyword works, right? The only way to understand this better would be like, please go and try this again, right? And see it at your end. But remember just one definition, this always point to your current running object. That's it. If you change that object, this will point to that object. If you change again, this will point to that object. Okay. Okay, I think we are good for this part. Again, collection framework was not discussed, which is okay. But I'm happy that we covered three good parts here, which is enum, debugging, and this keyword. Okay, and now we have reached to the point where Java basics is completed. Okay, there is nothing left in Java basics. We have to start with uh, advanced Java, and tomorrow I would not go very deep. I would be keeping a very simple session tomorrow. Okay, so that you can use your Friday, Saturday, Sunday to brush up all the skills we have learned till now in Java basics. Okay, so I will not try to go very deep into collections or Java advanced tomorrow. I will try to leave those 3 days for you. Please do as much work you can do in these 3 days and get your clarity, right? Perform as many questions as you can. Use GitHub, use Geeks for Geek site, use Lead Code, use any other site which you feel you are comfortable with, right? Please start with something if you're not done, okay? And try to explore all these options, because now everything on the core part of Java is done. There is nothing left. We have to just start. We have to just use this to build up an advanced level now. That's it. And then even advanced level is not too much, right? I will tell you, we will be able to wind up everything in next 2 weeks in Java. So there is not much there also. Okay, we'll be able to wind up that. But please, this is the more interesting part or the important part for us. Okay, great. I think we are good for today. And I think we can close the cover for today if no, there are no questions. Right. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Good
Thank you
night.
so much, Akil. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Good night. Bye bye. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye. Good night.
Good night. Bye bye.